Good afternoon. My name is Gabriele Giuliani. I lead the revenue and sales for Bits of Business. I hope you enjoyed a bit of this last second confusion about the mic, but I'm glad I'm here to talk to you about what we do at Bits of Business. Who is Bits of Business and what do we do? I wish they gave me also the slide remote. Okay, this is interesting. Anyway, what Bits of Business is and what Bits of Business does. We are an infrastructure cross-border payment company born and focused on LATAM markets from Mexico to Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Peru, and Chile recently. We were born, thank you. We were born 11 years ago as a company in Mexico. And our mission originally was to be just a crypto exchange. I say just, but we ended up being the largest crypto exchange in LATAM. The idea of the B2B side, which is what Bits of Business is about, came up almost 4 years ago out of a necessity of what we see in the markets in Latin America. So, and the necessity was, we live in what it is commonly referred to as the Global South. The Global South is anyone working and dealing with the currencies that are not in the G10 currencies, and therefore they don't have really huge liquid trading markets. So the Global South is clearly LATAM, is clearly Africa. So for anyone has in a company or needs for payments in these two massive regions, the only access to global trade and global finance is going through the dollar and then settling in dollars or getting to another currency, which is not trivial as a business. Why? Because you have, if you are in a smaller country, you have your own domestic bank, needs to have a relationship with another bank, which is a regional bank, which needs to have a relationship with the US banks and then continue the journey, which means the journey is probably several days long in terms of settlement times, is very obscure in terms of fees, and it is not a predictable, efficient experience for your merchant and for your customers. So that's the genesis in how the idea of dealing with cross-border payments in LATAM came about. So it is hardly a news that this new raise, because not even an industry, our new payment raise are now really doubling and tripling almost every month because they solve a real problem. So, and I wanted to give you a bit of a view of, what problems are we talking about? Because sometimes people that are new to the industry get a sense of, yeah, this is very fancy, but we live in the real world, so is this one really helpful? Yes, it is. So I mentioned already the volatility of the currencies in our region, like also in Africa. For example, if you receive payments in Mexican pesos and your headquarters is in the US or in Europe, you need to collect Mexican pesos, transfer it to dollars, move into another bank, from that account, move it from that account in dollars to another account somewhere else. So for this one, you very likely engage with 2 or 3 different banks. And it takes days, and you cannot offer a reliable fees or effects to your customer. You, let's take, in this case, you are a PSP. Through stablecoins, what do you do actually? You use your local, what we call on-ramp, which means you collect the payment in local fiat, you instantly transfer that one into one of the 2 largest used US-pegged stablecoins, USDT or USDC, in seconds. And in seconds, you can decide to send those USDT or USDC somewhere else on the chain or do the off-ramp in the other currency in another part of the planet. In the past, this was days. Now it is minutes. So if your business as a PSP is to offer this service to your merchant, you clearly understand how much advantage you have in terms of floating and liquidity. versus the traditional model. So this is and is still dramatically changing the value proposition for the PSP to their merchants. We are the infrastructure behind. Any of the big players in this industry, they are either a customer of ours, or they're talking to us, and they use a variety of combination, which is the on-ramp and the FX, the off-ramp, or they can do just the FX in the middle. Another huge case is the one, of course, of money transmitters. We happen to be sitting in the largest corridor on the planet for FX, which is the USD to MXN, US dollars to Mexican pesos. That's the #1 corridor on the planet, period. That corridor is worth $60 billion a year. On that corridor, BITS already moves 10% of those volumes through stablecoins to do from USD to MXN. Why? You wonder if all the major banks on the planet are already in that corridor because they have interest. So why we do that? Because it's not a war of either or, meaning you either do with the banks or you do with stablecoins. It's actually a combination of both. Wherever you find efficiencies in fees, in times, in service, you can decide which flows you take through the banking rails, with SWIFT, the correspondent banking, and which flows you take to our rails. So, and in terms of efficiency, bear in mind, with our phone in the pocket, we think that we have bank access 24/7. Well, when it happens that you are remitting money, that word doesn't exist yet. It is becoming possible, but it doesn't exist. Meaning, if your bank closes at 5 on Friday and you want to send money, you need to find a way to send that money after night or Saturday or Sunday. Otherwise, you don't have a solution and your customer need to wait until Monday to get the money on the other side. This is what stablecoins enables every single day, and that's why we get 10% of those volumes in LATAM and from the US to Mexico. Clearly, there are also traders and gaming. These two were native into the crypto world because they saw the opportunity in speed and efficiency and in fees to trade in a different channel versus the banking channel since early days of this business. There is another one that I think it is going to be big, and I think we should pay attention, which is treasury. Many companies are international, multinational, and therefore they need to collect money, and they have position in multiple currencies around the world. Through stablecoins, they can have a centralized treasury, then they can get on and off from any currency in seconds without having the need to have deposits in their account. So we were very fast today, but I wanted to leave you with a couple of examples that maybe resonate to you in terms of brands and things we enable in LATAM. The first one is, I spoke about this one, but I wanted to talk about what we do with the new innovation. For example, there are companies like Clara that does payments and is using our services as really sort of the guarantor of the credit they're giving to companies for doing corporate spending. This is very new, and the frontiers of the things that are happening are really, really limitless. Another one is clearly a need of paying developers globally. It's a massive need for companies that facilitate those kind of contracts. How they pay these people located everywhere on the planet 24/7 through stablecoins. We are enabling one of the biggest players in town, which is High Club, to do this one in Brazil, in Colombia, in Argentina, in Mexico, instantly in any, regardless the currency and where the people sit on their work. So in essence, you have to see this one is not just a pure FX, cross-border payments, because the winning factor, in my view, is the combination of the two things. You have to be able to offer not just the inefficient 24/7 FX. You need to combine that one with the ability to disburse the payment if it is a payout, or to collect if it is a pay-in the local markets, because every single market has a different ACH infrastructure, a different banking system, a different rules. So we built this one over the years in a way where we are directly connecting our customers to the local ACH networks. At the same speed we can do the FX, we can execute the pay-in and pay-out. This combination of the two makes us very unique and powerful for taking care of the entire payment from the beginning till the end. And I hope you will find this one interesting, and thank you very much for your attention.